Kathmandu Durbar Square virtual tour that starts from a statue of a Prime Minister who was a Prime Minister about 100 years ago. Juddha Shamsher. See the statue in the middle. Busy road. There are shopping centers around. And besides the shopping center, there's a parking lot to the right side. And you can see the ticket counter. All foreigners entitled to pay 1,000 rupees so that they can get an entry to this area. So here is the starting of the tour. Kathmandu Durbar Square, starting from New Road. And one can see this old firefighting machines that is in Kathmandu. So that was started by the Juddha Shamsher. So this you can see that this is the modern one. Inside the firefighting machines up here inside the fence, and one of the oldest firefighting machines in Kathmandu that was kept here, and probably this was back in 1940s they bought these firefighting machines, and this is by the brand Dennis, a European company. They made these firefighters. So here is a money changer, specially targeted for the foreigners, and there are a lot of souvenir shops around selling souvenirs for locals and even some for foreigners. And still some of the structures undercover because they are under construction after the earthquake. So reconstruction going on. And this is actually a Kirtipur Tower and Bhaktapur Tower that belongs to the Basantapur Tower from 17th century. So here is a building with shops, tea shop, as well as juice makers and fruit sellers. They are concentrated. See the movement here. So this is all part of the Kathmandu Durbar Square, and the entry is given here only with buying the tickets for the foreigners. The famous Basantapur Double with souvenir shops around, selling souvenirs of all different type and all different price, especially singing bowls, earrings and beads as well. And the street to the right side from here, that's a Hippie Street. When hippies came here back in 1960s, they stayed around this area. And here you can see the buildings right now with some coffee shop. Down there is a pizza connection, and there's a restaurant with the view of the palace. So this is a 9-story palace building in the middle. And actually this got destroyed with the earthquake, and right now the reconstruction going on with the China aid. And here is the modern part of the building, neoclassical Greek architecture. And this building was constructed by one of the Prime Minister, Chandra Shamsher, back in 1908. So this building popular by the name Gaddi Baitak, and the architecture is totally different than the old buildings. As the old building, they have this color, the material of the construction, all different. And this building goes white in color, and they got a British influence in Nepal as well. And besides, at the far end, there are some temple under construction, and at the end is the house for the Kumari. And the building right now, whatever we can see, their houses is school, and there is a contact office of one of the university located in the western part of the country. So they have a city office here, Nepal Sanskriti University. The house for the living goddess, Kumari, especially famous for the windows with carving. The middle window is a golden one, and here are the two guardian lions in front, and there is where they keep the chariot for the Kumari, the living goddess. So we are going inside as well. All this, for the house for the Kumari. The entrance, lions. See the carving up there? Popular carving on the wood. Right? So here is the main entrance. So these are all part of the chariot, like a rope to pull the chariot during the festival for the Kumari. So here is a place for the security gentlemen. Normally when we have a lot of peoples. So here is the house of the Kumari inside. And it's very famous for the wood carvings. The building was completed back in 17th century too, and has all the carvings on their windows. Okay, the house for the living goddess Kumari. Kumari actually is a tradition that's dated back to 10th century, but it was not popular until 17th century. So in 17th century, they made the Kumari culture very popular. So it's like to put a harmony between two different religions, as Kumari is worshipped equally by Hindus and Buddhists. And mostly Kumari is coming from the Sakya family, from a northern part of Kathmandu Durbar Square. And she is considered as a reincarnation of a Hindu goddess Taleju, but she is chosen from a Buddhist family. So Buddhist people, as well as Hindu people, all of them, they worship for the Kumari. So 12 to 4 o'clock, Kumari cannot come, but besides before 12 o'clock and after 4 o'clock, she would show up on the window up here. Here is one of the oldest building in Kathmandu Durbar Square, popular by the name Kasta Mandap, reconstructed after the earthquake, almost completed. You can still see some part at the bottom. They still have to remove the construction materials. Besides, there are small local buildings and a temple for Siva in between with the Sikara architecture. See some old buildings left. And this one is Sinya Satal. They believe that the wood remaining after construction of the Kathmandu oldest building, Kasta Mandap, they constructed this public platform. Right now, the municipality going to maintain a small art gallery inside. And besides, the building here, popular by the name Kabindrapur, originally was a theater for the king, and they organized a show for the king and royal families in the past. And it's very popular for the wood carvings and the windows too. It's popular by the name Kabindrapur. So now it functions as a storeroom for the goods from the palace complex. And at the bottom there are small temples, and to the left side or just behind this Kasta Mandap there is a popular temple for Ganesh. The famous temple for Ganesh, popular by the name Maru Ganesh, and here they are selling like small offerings, especially a garland, and there is a garland even for a bride and the bridegrooms. See, they are very decorative out of a grass that is called dubo. Well, and people are offering 100,000 foreign lamps up here on the name of the god Ganesh. So this should be passed only with the sugar cane, and that's why you can see each container 20,000 foreign lamps. So they are 5 in number. Okay. So here is the oldest building left, and there is a temple for Vishnu still under construction, and in front is a small Siva shrine. Okay. So this is like a dry fish to make pickles and some type of soup. And here you can see the garland, besides a tiny store in Durbar Square. Far end, there's the biggest bill that weighs more than 2,000 kilograms. Originally they were using giving notice to the public people. So small temples Here is an octagonal temple that represents its symbol of good luck. So when the king and queen coming out from the palace, it's always towards the right side. So that will bring good luck to them. And there is a statue of the king up there. It's a popular king from Malla dynasty, Pratap Malla, with his family, with his wives, with his kids. Temples with his scaffolding, still under construction. And at the end is the Hanuman Doka palace. Up here is the temple for Degutale, still with his scaffolding as well. So right now closed is a temple for a white Bhairav. They opened during the Indra Jatra festival. So the image of the Hanuman, they worship during Tuesday and Saturday. And Hanuman supposed to bring victory. And still a lot of scaffolding that's around the palace. So right now we're entering a part of the museum. And there is a separate ticket right now for the foreigners to go inside the museum. So this building under construction, under renovation, and actually that house is a museum. So this is part of the Lohan Chowk. It's very famous for the carvings. So reconstruction going on. See the scaffolding, all the area. And soon they will take out all this scaffolding as construction work is almost over. It's very famous for the windows. Take the wood carving, especially they have made on a sal wood, Soria robusta. It also houses a museum up there over this building. Here is a Land Rover used by King Mahendra when he was traveling in the southern part of the country. Somebody not happy with the king, they put on a bump, a small. Only the windows are broken, and there is no intention to harm the king, but they just want to have a warning. So this was back in 1961 and 62, the king used this Land Rover. See the part of the palace with carvings as a reconstruction. Since completed on this part. Beautiful bougainvillea right now. Flowers. And this building in front is used as a storeroom, and they have a collection of the woods from the fallen temples outside the palace. So here is where they worship the Nagas, a serpent king, and the view from inside the palace with Point City at the end is the tallest temple in the complex. That's a Taliji temple from 1564. There are two palanquins. One used to carry the royal brides in the palace, and one used to carry the deceased persons in the palace. See this one. So this was used to carry the dead bodies when somebody from the royal family died. Here are the kings from Saha dynasty. Prithinath Saha, who unified all the small kingdoms, and his descendants. So ceremonial chair for the Saha kings. And see that all these kings, paintings and pictures. All the Saha kings. So they were the last kings also in Nepal. The last king Gyanendra, which is still living, but as an ex-king. Here is the reincarnation of a Vishnu in a form of a lion. He is killing the demon king Hiranyakashipu. This reincarnation popular by the name Narasimha. And we have a lot of people, they are worshipping this image every morning. People come nearby, they put an offering, water lamps, some sweets as well. Here is a Kal Bhairav. Bhairav is the destructive manifestation of Siva. See the Kal Bhairav. Recently painted. Every Thursday we have a lot of visitors here. They sell offerings necessary for worshipping the Bhairav. Some temple under construction. The flag of Nepal, triangular. It's a unique flag with a triangular shape. So mostly the flag comes with rectangular or square pattern. And see one of the oldest temple, that's for Siva. And in front is a temple for Siva as well. But with the architecture pagoda, here is like a temple with the mixed architecture. At the bottom you can see a pagoda architecture. At the top you can see the Sikara architecture. So the whole complex of different temples. So we are here in a temple. This temple originally from 1564. A temple constructed for goddess Taleju. Taleju is taken as a caretaker, as well as goddess of power. And besides, they do sacrifice of 108 animals during the Dasai festival. And the king constructed this tallest temple because he wanted to see all the public people had eaten. That's why he is supposed to stay at the top of the temple and looking after the smoke from every household. And the temple is open for the visitors only one day in a year, and for the foreigners it's closed for all the days as well. And see the doors, as I said, these are the entrance door with the entrance line as well. And besides, there are like a different animals carved on the stone up there on the doors. Here you can see the biggest tree up here. It's a Ficus religiosa, and this tree was planted about 500 years ago. And there is a magnolia, the magnolia tree, and this is one of the popular flower, especially in Kathmandu Durbar. And the temple right now recently reconstructed. The temple was constructed as a replica of a temple from Pashupatinath. It's popular by the name Pashupatinath of Kathmandu, or even popular by the name Makhan Mahadev as well. And the temple was originally constructed back in 1574, but reconstructed many times. And the final reconstruction, they used marble, so the temple seems quite new as well. And above there is a statue of the Siva with his trident and the bulls. And the temple is always full of pigeons in this area. And here is again, we can see the temple. There is another small temple for Siva. music. Then after that, the priest. All the people walking. And they go from temple to temple, visiting different religious sites.